All right. Live on YouTube and Twitch. No Twitter today because I'm still suffering a 7-day ban for telling somebody to kill themselves. You're not allowed to type that into Twitter. You automatically get banned the second you hit the tweet button. Let me know if you can hear me, people, as you come in. I've had audio issues on a lot of recent streams. Well, there hasn't really been a recent stream. 2 weeks ago, the stream had like 15 minutes of sorting out audio issues. So let's make sure it works. You shouldn't be hearing anything from the game yet. This screen has no audio. I found out that if you click on Chapter 2 instead of clicking Load, you come upon this screen that says you can perform witchcraft to jump forward in time. Either cast the spell or not cast the spell. And I'm very curious about that blue butterfly over there. Hello, Ellen. Hello, Amy. Amazing. You two are always the first ones in. How do you do that? Are you just the only people who have notifications turned on? Does YouTube push me to Brazil before it pushes me to the US? That would be interesting. That would actually be really interesting. All the more reason to try to learn Portuguese. I've made no progress on that front since first deciding to do that because I've been so wrapped up in other projects. The reason I didn't do an episode of Golden Witch Wednesdays last week is because I was working on the Perfect Blue video. I guess I was in the editing phase at that point. That video I wrote like 3 or 4 months ago, and like I got so wrapped up in the idea that I had to figure out how I was going to work The Wind Rises into the script because that was the original plan. But like I had never planned for the Perfect Blue segment by itself to be as long as it was. So it ended up feeling like unnecessary, you know? And so once I finally just was like, okay, let's just turn this into a really good Perfect Blue video. I settled on doing that because I really need, more than anything else, like an explosive hit video. And it's always hard to predict what's going to make that happen. Is it going to be my best idea? Is it going to be like whatever is the most obviously popular idea? Or like, will it be something that I can do quickly? Will it be something that's going to take a lot of time? You know, if I put a lot of time into something and it doesn't succeed, that's a real bummer. But the Perfect Blue video, I feel like on a long enough time scale is kind of a guaranteed success because it's a popular movie and it's just an incredibly good analysis. It's good enough that it was like I impressed myself. It's the kind of thing where I didn't know I had it in me. Like I said, it wasn't supposed to be nearly that long. I had to cut a lot from it of just like meandering trauma decompression that I was going through to process the movie. It has been doing better number than usual. It is the fastest growing video on the channel so far. Like it's whenever you release a video, YouTube compares it to your last 10 and tells you how fast it's growing compared to those ones. So it's growing faster than any of the previous 10. By the way, yeah, I hadn't seen. I say it in my little vlog about the Perfect Blue videos release. I was like, mine's the best on YouTube. And then I just kind of said that because I figured it's probably true because there's not even another one that's like long or in that in depth that I had seen. But then I thought about like, I haven't actually seen any of them. Some of them could be really good. So I clarified, oh, I haven't even watched any of them. I just know mine's better. And I was like, that actually sounds even more arrogant somehow. But Gary always says the only other good one is Bread Swords. And I only recently discovered Bread Sword. So I did not know that they had a Perfect Blue analysis. And I will definitely go check that out. At least I don't think I had seen it. I think I've only seen Bread Sword's Castle of Cagliostro video. Unless I watched the Perfect Blue one and forgot. But I don't think I did. But yeah, I mean, regardless of whether it's literally better than anyone else, this doesn't really matter. The point was just that, like, I think if you like that movie and you want to see an analysis video of that movie, the chances that mine wouldn't be like something enjoyable to you just seems very low to me, unless you were like violently against my take. You know, like if you really hated my take, maybe you would really hate the video. But while I think again on a long enough time scale, it should be a successful video, I don't expect it to be explosively popular because Perfect Blue isn't like relevant. It's not even currently in theaters. Like it has had theatrical re-releases, but there's not any real particular reason that Perfect Blue is a movie I covered now other than I had the concept for it. Like I wanted to talk about the idea of trying to make something perfect because again the the kind of driving force behind creating that video was me thinking like I need to prove that I can make the best video I've ever made now. Like that whatever I make, that I could make something right now that you would watch and you would say this might be your best video, you know, and like and that would be how it hits with as many audience members as possible, that like everybody who sees it is going to go, wow, this might be your best video, or this is at least as good as whatever was your best video, you know. Put parasocial in the title, it'll pop off like fireworks. That's not a bad idea. Parasocial acting in Perfect Blue, that sounds kind of good. Maybe I'll consider that. That's the best title suggestion I've gotten so far. I'm always asking people, like people are constantly telling me, you got to fix the title, you got to fix the thumbnail. And I'm like, I'm doing my best. If you have ideas, shoot. And most of the ideas suck, you know, because people don't have ideas. They just know that it's not good. And I'm like, well, that doesn't help. I know it's not good. You know, perfect is like a good title in terms of encapsulating what the video is about, but it's not a good marketing name. The enemy of good becoming the title was me thinking, if I push the word perfect into the thumbnail, then I can put the words Perfect Blue Analysis in the title without it being too redundant, and use the words the enemy of good, which I only came up with as like the subtitle during publishing. So I'm not that committed to these like this name as the structure. I'm literally going to keep changing the thumbnail and title of that video until it pops off. But again, there's no real reason that it would happen now. What would be more likely would be that if I made a video that was more current, but just as good, it would bleed back to that video gaining more views. So I'm going to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen because that manga just ended today, or is ending now. It's going to end in like the next few hours or something like that. The last chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen's publishing tonight. And I really came around to liking Jujutsu Kaisen through season 2 of the anime, which is legitimately great. Bird has kept up with the manga ever since then. And so I know what happens, you know, and I'm going back through starting with Jujutsu Kaisen 0, which is a way better starting point. Like if you it's a shame that like the way the anime released makes it seem like that's like it's a prequel, because it was originally Jujutsu Kaisen was just these 4 chapters, and then because they were popular, he wrote the rest of it and then was able to publish that manga as the prequel to the main story. And there's different main characters, kind of, because the main character from 0 eventually comes back into the main story, and all the plot elements do as well. So like it just better prepares you for where the story is going if you've already read 0. It gives a lot more allowance for the early Yuji chapters to be what they are if you already know what the overarching plot that it's eventually going to get to is, you know, that isn't really introduced in the start of the show. Anyway, I'll talk about the manga in a big video later. I was kind of just waiting for more people to show up, but it looks like we've settled in at like 12. So we're just going to go for it. Let's perform the spell, jump forward in time, and start playing Umineko. Cast the oh. Chessboard preparations. The first day. Is this where we stopped? Oh. Yes, shatter my brain. Right, we are on a train. I should just load? Okay, I'll do that. take me to where I was. I thought the time jump would just take me to where I had been, but it was more of like a chapter select. This is fucking hella loud in my headphones. Ah, yes, the Rose Garden. I am indeed running as admin. I've never made that mistake again. That's like the first. That's number one on the checklist. All right. I don't know whose voice this is. I don't know whose. Is this just like the narrator, like a disembodied voice saying this? Who is saying this? Okay, whatever. Every year, the relatives who visit Rokenjima let out a sigh of admiration at the rose garden which first greets them. They stood there talking with each other about the roses' beauty and the state of their blooming this year. There was a single unhealthy rose among them, and Maria became overwhelmed with dejection at its state. Hey, I know something about this story. But George used his quick wits, and saying she should look after it if she felt that sorry for it, he marked it with a candy wrapper and immediately restored Maria's good mood. Was it always a candy wrapper? And once Battler, with whom she had been getting along well all morning, raised the subject of Halloween that Maria loved so much, she began playing around energetically again. It seems like the same scene. To Maria, well, it's a different... She didn't have a fucking Halloween candy the first time, did she? Man. It's going to be hard for me to keep like all of the information from every chapter in my brain all at once. Especially with 2-week gap. To Maria, those marshmallow jack-o'-lantern candies that her mother had bought for her were probably a treasure greater than any other. It seemed that several of them had been bought for her, and she demanded trick-or-treat from every person she met, giving them candy instead of the other way around. She gives... Wait. So she's not asking for candy, she's giving away candy on Halloween. I love Maria. If it wasn't clear, by the way, who my favorite character in Umineko is, it is Maria. I wonder why Maria likes Halloween so much. I thought that event was pretty difficult for Japanese people to get used to. Isn't that because it's a kids' festival where they get to parade around in costumes? It's fun to play around in an outfit that's different than usual. No, I think there's probably a slightly deeper reason. After all, she is Maria-chan the witch. Come to think of it, when we were at the airport, didn't Maria say that if she was going to wear a costume, it would be a witch? Does Maria like witches? No fucking shit. It's like the only thing about her. Yes, she loves them. So much that it becomes a problem. Well, admiring fantastical stuff like that is to be expected at that age. If she'd at least chosen a heroine of some TV anime to admire, that would have been cute. So she's like, why not a magical girl? Why'd it have to be witches? Judging by Rosa's reactions, it seemed that as a mother, she did not find her daughter's love for witches pleasant. There were magical girls in like 86, right? I feel like there were more magical witches than magical girls by that point, but I don't know. I'd have to look at the graph. Seemingly all the cousins other than Battler were able to understand this, and they shrugged their shoulders, smiling awkwardly. Huh? So if you like witches, you also like Halloween. Is that how it works? I guess I should just ask her myself if I don't know. It is true. If you like witches, it's pretty easy to like Halloween. Hey, Maria! Aside from like the commercialization aspect of like the candy. What kind of relationship do Halloween and witches have with each other? As Battler asked that, George and Jessica let out a small ah noise. It seemed they were too late. It almost looked as though Maria had been waiting for that question. After looking happy for an instant, her expression turned a little mean, as if to say, you don't know anything, do you? It was the expression of an enthusiast who has been enraged by the ignorant statement of an outsider with a wrong impression.
The Celts thought of the changing strength of the sun over the course of a year. As its birth, its growing up period, its aging and death, and then its revival.
I get it. The sun, weak and warm in spring, starts to grow up and become hot. Then it gradually gets weaker and worn out. Yeah, I can see how you could think of that as the passing of the sun's life.
So they thought that at the end of October, the sun died, rested its body in the land of the dead, and then revived again at the winter solstice. And so they celebrated the day that the sun ends its 1-year lifespan and dies, calling it New Year's Eve or Samhain.
That way of thinking is very interesting. To say that the sun is revived on the day of the winter solstice, when the daylight hours start to grow longer again. It's an episode that makes you understand how much ancient people deified the sun. I see. And what do witches have to do with this? It seemed that my casual urging forward had slightly infuriated Maria. She glared at me with eyes that told me to let her explain without interrupting. Maria looked like she was having fun telling me, so I decided not to interrupt.
In the interval between October and November, life and death become the closest they ever will. The Celts believed that this was the time when the world of the living was at its closest to that of the dead, and those not of this world, and when they would be visited by many inhabitants of the other world. It was like the Bon Festival in Japan.
At the time, the people believed that the souls returning to the physical world would go into people's houses or possess people to do bad things. So in order to avoid harm from them, the people invented protective rituals. Of those was to imitate creepy monsters and scare the souls instead, which was apparently a way to avoid being possessed.
So that part became a festival, which turned into a costume parade. Maria's really knowledgeable.
Ain't it the truth? Even I never knew Halloween had such a history. But where did the whole trick-or-treat thing come from? Her knowledge was so extensive that the adults had started listening in too at some point. Maria, who was normally always treated like the youngest, puffed out her chest in pride. Rosa tried to say this was just a kid's story and that she wanted to quickly break up the circle that set the luggage down in the guest house, but nobody else agreed, and she let out a heavy sigh. Yeah, BTFO, bitch, Maria's way cooler than you.
Trick-or-treat is just for fun. It has nothing to do with what was originally a Celtic ceremony. That was created later when Christian customs were mixed in. But I think that Halloween should be that way.
According to Maria, the souls of the dead weren't the only ones who visited from the world of the non-human. There were also spirits that had an intimate connection to how people lived. It was because humans received the favors of those spirits that they were able to earn a wonderful blessing and a year's worth of good crops.
So in other words, Halloween was also a bit of a harvest festival?
I see. Now you mention it, I get the feeling that October is a turning point in various ways, seasonally too. I mean, it's exactly on the other side of the year to Japan's April. Yeah, that might be a good place to mark it. Japan's April as opposed to, I guess I'm just thinking, well, the US has the same April, but like, I also understand calling it Japan's April because not everywhere has that April. There's gotta be a way to refer to that calendar, right? Like Gregorian or whatever. Is that the Gregorian calendar? I don't know. I don't know shit about fuck. There's no way he would know if I don't know. So, not that I know more than Battler. He's like educated or something. Well, I don't know. He's like 18, right? Maybe he's not that educated. I think did he drop out of school or did he just... No, he like went to school, like to boarding school or some shit, right? I don't remember how educated Battler is. Should I feel smarter or dumber than Battler as a 33-year-old without a college education?
Ooh! And you know, the witches, they held a coven during that time called Sabbath. The witches would thank the spirits that gave out blessings of prosperity and reward them.
Halloween costumes are an imitation of the visitors from the other side. So then, the reason we give candy to them must be because of a feeling that they should be thanked for the yearly harvest.
Ooh, just like George and E-chan says.
So Halloween is a time when this world and that world intermingle? So in other words, it's a precious opportunity for witches to interact with visitors from that world. Man, wait till Japan gets fucking Cinco de Mayo. They're gonna flip out. Is that what you want to say?
Woo!
Which that is gonna happen in our lifetimes. The influence of Mexican culture will hit Japan like a ton of bricks at some point.
Woo! Just like Battler says. So you know what? You know what?
And Brazilian culture. I don't know if y'all have a Day of the Dead, but it's gonna hit them too.
October is the time when the power of witches and demons is at its most vigorous and prosperous. I'm sure Beatrice will come too. And then we'll eat the marshmallow candies together and she'll take me to the Golden Land with her.
That's so fucking adorable.
We'll sing magical songs together, learn magic spells together, learn how to draw magic circles together.
Hell yeah. Manga class. Let's go.
Then I'm gonna learn the secrets of runes and become a great witch really, really quickly.
I need a pupil this dedicated. I need somebody who's like, I'm going to become the god of all analysis. Trixie will teach me her ways. My, isn't that wonderful? It's best for kids to have dreams. By the way, Rosa, how old did Maria-chan turn this year again? Maria, that's enough of that topic. Don't worry about it, Rosa-san. It's a dream that any girl has at one time or another. Or so she says. Thank you very much. But Maria has already outgrown that age. Hey, I'm telling you to stop. Rosa scolded Maria, trying to shut her up before her cheery discussion about black magic earned her the snickers of the relatives. Wow, that's a pretty large-scale dream. By the way, who was Beatrice again? What was it? I've heard that before. Battler had been gone for 6 years and had completely forgotten about the legend of the Rokenjima witch. However, when he said that he didn't know Beatrice's name, Maria's mood, which had been so bright until just now, became sour in an instant. You don't know? When he saw that, that's exactly how I would react if somebody didn't know who Trixie the Golden Witch is. Just a sullen, sinking feeling of, oh, I'm talking to someone who's not even qualified to consider themselves a human being. Because they have not seen the need to worship at the altar of the Golden Witch, which we all do by playing Umineko here at Golden Witch Church every Wednesday night. God willing. When he saw that, Battler immediately remembered that it was the name of the witch of this island, but the damage had been done. Until Maria's mood improved, many mysterious and fabulous episodes regarding the Golden Witch were drilled into his brain. You ever had that happen to you? That's happened to me, where someone set me up, like, do you know who? And then they say a name, and like I don't immediately remember the name, and then I'm like, no. And then like the second they start their explanation, I realize I know exactly who it is, but it would be really awkward to cut them off because they've just like full charged into explaining, and I'm like, oh no. Oh no, a bunch of information I don't need, you know, and can't stop without being like, shut up, I know. No, I forgot, I knew, but I didn't know. Because then they don't believe you. They're like, no, you don't know. You would remember if you knew. And I'm like, no, I wouldn't. I would not. That is enough, Maria. Thank you, Battler-kun, for going along with her stories. Kanon-kun, don't you have work to do? Please leave now. Goda-san, I think everyone wants to set down their bags for the time being. Can't bully her siblings, but at least she can bully the staff. I hate her so much. Sorry, but could you guide everyone to the guest house? Certainly.
それでは皆
Well
様、
then, everyone, I will
ゲス
guide
ト
you
ハウ
to
ス
the
へご
guest
案内いた
house.
しま
それでは
Then, if you will excuse me. Led by Goda, the relatives headed off in the direction of the guest house. Their minds on setting down their luggage and taking a quick rest, they didn't notice that Rosa and Maria had stayed in the same spot. Uh-oh. Y'all ready for a child abuse solo? After watching them leave toward the guest house, Rosa's features changed suddenly. She let go with the hand that had been gripping Maria's arm the whole time. There was a bright red mark there, making it clear how much excessive force she had been gripping Maria's slender arm with. Look at that fucking face. That hand then smacked Maria over the head and pulled her left ear up into the air, pinching it sharply.
I'm always telling you not to talk about witches. Haven't I always said that was our promise together? Mama, it hurts, it hurts. Halloween, do you ever stop? A witch festival? Who cares about the Celts? Who cares about black magic? Are you an idiot? You are 9 years old and 9. Because you made that ruckus in the train, I had to go to all the trouble of getting off and buying you those disgusting monster marshmallows that look like they have fluorescent paint on them. We were even late because I bought them for you. How much more will I have to embarrass me before you're satisfied? As Rosa cursed, she twisted Maria's ear up, making it seem like it was going to snap off. An expression of anguish spread across Maria's face, and she stood on her tiptoes as though her life depended on it, trying to soften the pain on her ear that was being pulled. Rosa suddenly stole the candy that Maria had been holding in her hand. No, not the candy. Literally taking candy from a baby. Then she threw it on the ground and stepped on it over and over. Ooh. To Maria, it was supposed to be proof of her memory of that span of time, however brief, when she had enjoyed going shopping with her mother. Jesus fucking Christ. But it was being trampled by that very same mother. It was as though a brand was being pushed against Maria's eyes, leaving a mark that couldn't be erased. Holy motherfucking shit. That is the most intense description of trauma I have heard. Like seeing something traumatic I have ever heard. Who cares about this disgusting candy? Disgusting. Why, this is why, you see. This is why. Disgusting.
She struck Maria's head over and over again with her palm as she spoke. She didn't hit Maria's face because the red swelling would stand out. Maria closed her eyes tightly, patiently bearing her mother's violence. No, that wasn't quite it.
Come back, Mama. Save me, Mama. Beat the bad witch.
She kept bearing it, muttering that over and over.
Will you listen? I told you to stop saying witch. You little... You...
Rosa's shoulders shook as she breathed, tired from hitting. Maria, I love how she always wears herself out. She literally beats this child until she has abused herself through how much she has. She's beating this kid until her hand is broken, and she has to stop. Maria grasped her hands together, withstanding it, hoping her mother would come back quickly.
Mama, come back quickly. Save me, Mama. Finish off the bad witch.
Why don't you just stay there doing that forever? And then you can just stand there mumbling about witches and Halloween forever. After throwing those words at Maria, Rosa went off towards the guest house, leaving Maria behind. Maria, unable even to remember that it was all right to cry, kept staring down at the trampled, unrecognizable jack-o'-lantern candy. Forgetting that it was all right to cry. I did that for 10 years once. Oh, Rosa. Where did you go? I'm sorry. The roses were so wonderful, I got a bit carried away.
Rosa,
Go set your luggage down quickly. We're going to greet Aniki. Huh? What happened to Maria-chan? Is she still by the flower beds? Yes. It looks like there was a rose she liked, and she said she wanted to look after it and wouldn't listen. I decided to let her do what she wants for a while. Fucking lying cunt. We sometimes forget that girls have their own little world. Sometimes we have to respect that, right? That's right. Yeah, respect it with your fucking back of your hand, if you know what I mean. Thank you for caring, Kirie-san, a lot more than I do. Goda-san, where is our room? I will guide you this way. Allow me to hold your luggage. I'm fine. I can carry it myself, thank you. Rosa went into the room that Goda had guided her to. Closing the door somewhat violently, she threw her luggage on top of the bed. She got down on her knees in front of the bed and buried her face in it. Oh, great, now she's going to cry about it. For a while, Rosa made as if to shred the sheets with her fingernails, sobbing continually. Meanwhile, her daughter has forgotten it's okay to cry. But this bitch can cry herself a river over what she did. Okay. Unbelievable. Maria-sama, are you alright? Kanon, who had been hiding behind a thicket, appeared. What the fuck? Kanon's just lurking around watching. Oh, somebody's getting treated worse than I am around here. This is fucking wild. Kanon, who had been hiding behind a thicket, appeared after watching Rosa leave. I'm fine. There's a video, maybe some of you watched this because I posted it on my community tab the other day. There's a YouTube channel called Local Script Guy, and he's been breaking down this thing called the Enneagram, which is a writing tool that basically classifies characters into 9 different personality types based on like what their traumas are and what their coping mechanisms are, and like whether positive or negative, like, you know, the well, I guess exploring either the positive or negative side of, like, you know, the way that they deal with how they've come to be. And I think the reason I like Maria so much is that she falls into the same category I place myself in based on this guy's videos, which is the category number 9, which is people who basically get used to a certain level of, like, I mean, for lack of a better word, in this case with her, with Maria, not for me, but with her, it's literal just abuse. That she deals with so much of it that she doesn't imagine there's really a way out other than, like, this incredibly far-fetched conception. She thinks a witch is literally going to save her from this because she has not found an avenue to make this stop. Begging doesn't work, trying to get other people to understand doesn't work. So she's just like, no, I'm used to this, but it's okay, because I got a plan, like I got a backup plan. It's all gonna be fine, so I can deal with this because I know a solution or something, or like, this is nothing to me because I've been through worse. And there's good times, you know? It's not always bad. Like, just that kind of mentality. It leads you to, yeah, like a very defeatist, kind of numbing mindset, you know? That I see the way that he describes the character is very much the, like, just got the shit beat out of you, gets up and goes, nah, I'm fine. Like, no, you're not. We know you're not fine. We saw what just happened. Kanon knows you are not fine. You are not going to convince him that you are fine. He saw that shit. Yeah. Maria laughed unpleasantly, but to Kanon, who had seen the whole thing, it looked like she was enduring as best she could. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's like I write the next sentence right before I read it. Okay, whatever. She's a horrible person. I can't believe that was a mother. Unfortunately, I can.
It can't be helped. Such pitiful things enter such pitiful vessels.
Yeah, we're definitely playing with this. It's funny that I just like started writing a deep analysis of Jujutsu Kaisen today, because this is kind of the same themes. Is that like people get possessed by curses because they are, you know, sniveling, weak-minded people, and they just get, you know, they create curses that then possess them, you know, like just through that negative energy.
I am just fine.
Yeah, nobody who's fine laughs like that, bitch. Kanon got down on his knees and picked up the trampled candy. It was tragic just looking at it. He thought about dusting it off and returning it to her, but really couldn't do so with it in that condition. He was at a loss for what to do. He met eyes with Maria. No, they didn't meet. Maria was looking at the candy that Kanon had picked up. Right now, Maria's heart was surely the same as that trampled candy which had been crushed into a pulp. One would assume. Kanon realized this, but he didn't know what he should do. What would you do? Get up off my feet and stop making sad excuses. What would you do? Baby, if my mother could do it, baby, you could do it. What would you do if your son was at home, crying all alone on the bedroom floor because he's hungry? And the only way to feed him is to sleep with a man for a little bit of money, and his dad is gone. Somewhere smoking rock now, in and out of lockdown. I ain't got a job now. Okay, enough of that. I know. I'll exchange it for the one I received earlier. Kanon remembered that an identical candy which he had received from Maria was in his pocket. Maria stuck out her hand. Kanon thought she was trying to accept it, so he held up the candy, but Maria didn't try to grasp it. Then Kanon realized she was asking him to give it back. No matter how tragic it was, the trampled candy was Maria's. Her mother had bought it for her. No matter how tragic, it had to be this candy. If only it could be made pretty again by dusting it off. Kanon hung his head. I can't do anything except dust it off. Sorry. Kanon held out the miserable candy she wanted. Maria took it and spoke. Thank you. A human can't do anything except dust it off, but a witch can repair it to how it was. Oh my god, she's gonna keep it around so that the fucking witch can put it back together.
It would be easy for Beatrice.
I mean, I'm sure it would be, but I don't think the symbolism is going to do you much good in the long run. Maria-sama, do you know about Beatrice-sama? There couldn't be anyone related to the Ushiromiya family who didn't know Beatrice's name, with Battler as an exception. But just now, Maria had told Battler about her proudly. She had spoken almost as though she had been meeting with Beatrice regularly. The inside of the fist that Kanon made with his left hand hurt sharply. Like he's fucking gripping his hand so hard he's fucking bleeding. This is sort of an anime trope that I think I first noticed it pointed out by Bakaraptor, called the clenched fist of uselessness, which is where it's like just you see it all the time in anime when somebody wants to do something but they can't. They just grip their fist so tight that it hurts. It's rare that it's like described that it hurts sharply, but he's truly clenched his fist in uselessness to the max. In the past, a witch called Beatrice had appeared and had tempted him and Shannon. He had always tried to make himself think it had been a bad dream. Shannon insisted that it had definitely been Shannon insisted that it had definitely been a real witch. Oh, she put a magical mark on his hand, so it might literally hurt from the mark. And then this summer, the shrine to the local Shinto god had been hit by lightning and had disappeared without a trace in the span of a single night. He had known that Shannon had broken the mirror, and he remembered too that upon the witch's departure, she had left him with the words that she would eventually be revived. And now, this girl who had no end of faith in Beatrice spoke as though she had met her. Kanon couldn't suppress a sense of something ominous welling up in his heart. For a while, Maria remained silent, as though she could see into Kanon's heart, as though she was waiting for his memory of Beatrice to come back to him. Then she spoke matter-of-factly.
I am friends with Beatrice. I'm meeting her today too to play.
Play?
Yep, play. We're going to study magic together.
The face of the witch, who Kanon had tried to pretend was a bad dream, began to slowly creep into the back of his mind. I hope it slow fades her face into the screen. It'd be really funny. Damn. I don't think they're gonna do it. Damn. Father said he was extremely busy with his research. He said that, unfortunately, he will be unable to make an appearance. Come on. We've put this conference in our schedules and come all the way out to Rokenjima during the very busy fall season. I wish Dad would act a little more sociable. So true. Dr. Nanjo, is it really a problem with his research and his mood? He isn't already bedridden and unable to get up, right? Well, I wonder. There's not much I can say. Nanjo glanced at Natsuhi, as though he wasn't qualified to disregard Natsuhi when he spoke on this topic. Father is healthier than ever. Calling him bedridden is the height of rudeness. But he only has 3 months left to live, right? Normally, wouldn't that mean that he'd be wasting away, unable to get out of his bed? Right, Dr. Nanjo? For a normal patient, that would probably be the case. But Kinzo-san has extraordinary willpower. The force of his will may have even the Grim Reaper too terrified to approach. If he's that energetic, then we can at least be a little reassured, right? Although if he's that energetic, I wish he'd at least allow us to greet him. Isn't the point of the family conference to come and see Dad's face? Now I don't know why the hell we came. Don't say that. If he were here, you would complain the whole time about how you couldn't relax. I say we should celebrate that all of us siblings are here together as a family again this year, as we were the last, without even one of us missing.
You realize we couldn't meet him last year's family conference either. I wonder why we can't get him to understand that his children by blood want to see him after 2 years. If you have no words of greeting for him, I will tell him for you. Or, Eva-san, perhaps you had something other than a greeting you wanted to discuss with Father? Come on, what are you talking about?
Give it a rest, Eva. Natsuhi-san, forgive us. Eva's just concerned about Father's condition and his daughter. Please understand her feelings a bit. That's right. Eva, how suddenly you've become respectful to Father since he was told how long he has left. Yes, I can just about understand why you might be desperate to see him. What exactly are you implying? Quit it, Aniki. Why don't we pray that his mood will improve by dinner? And we've just arrived. And anyway, we only came to give a light greeting. We can hold the family conference even without Dad. No, there should even be a few things that we can't talk to him about until we form a unified opinion. Right, Hideyoshi-ni-san? Yep. Just as Rudolph-kun says, we can only gather our faces here once a year. We've got to value this precious time we've got and talk together frankly. Even though the tea hadn't even come yet, they were very strong-minded. I just want to point out, like, the subtle allusions to the allegiances that we understand because of Chapter 1, that they're just kind of reinforcing through the, you know, Ava saying things like, oh, all of us blood relatives want to see him, you know, to slight Natsuhi, but then Rudolph being like, Hideyoshi-ni-san, to be like, yeah, but I do see you as siblings because I am trying to be on your team about this. There's just so many little weird allegiances formed for the sake of whatever sentence each character's trying to get out at that moment. You know, they're all so fucking shady.
But before that, I wonder if we even have enough leeway to enjoy some black tea at our leisure, surrounded by the wonderful furnishings of the mansion's parlor.
Kirie's words seemed to hold some slight admonishment towards all of the people gathered in that place. They all understood, and as they cleared their throats and straightened their neckties, the atmosphere in the room returned to normal for a moment. She's like, y'all are all killing the vibe.
Excuse me. I have brought some tea.
Hey, Shanon-chan. You just keep getting prettier and prettier. Man, going between those two voices is a lot. Shanon entered the parlor, pushing the serving cart. Everyone decided to slowly enjoy some black tea for the time being. A wonderful aroma began to spread throughout the parlor. Looking at that scene, it would have been impossible to guess the strained atmosphere which had been there until right before Shanon had entered. Of course, Shanon, who was setting out the tea, probably didn't even notice. Kirie made a gesture that seemed to laugh at everyone's adult appearance. Rudolph didn't like it when Kirie took the initiative and spoke at the family conference. It was his worthless male pride. He probably didn't want to look like a weak man taking his wife's advice. She understood that and was doing her best to refrain from saying anything unnecessary. So she separated herself from the circle of siblings, which was good-natured only in appearance, and slowly enjoyed her tea near the window.
Oh, Rosa-san. I thought all you siblings were having a friendly discussion together. You are joking. Sorry, don't take it the wrong way. I'm just rolling my eyes at my husband.
It seemed that Rosa hadn't been able to keep up the charade of amicability. They had come here to fight bloodily and dirtily, each trying to steal the inheritance from the others. She probably didn't want to pretend to be fellow conspirators at this stage. Or maybe she was still much too inexperienced for that.
It looks like the wind has started blowing hard out there. The plants are all shaking so much. The typhoon has probably already come fairly close. I wonder if it will rain a lot tonight. Maria-chan really has grown a lot this past year.
Don't talk about her daughter. You're just going to make yourself sad.
Does it look that way? She still can't even fold her own clothing yet. Yes. It's because she has such an affectionate mother.
Oh my god.
She'll grow into a girl who's rich in heart.
Is she, like, fucking with her, or is she really doesn't know? Rosa was silent. Maybe she was unsure as to how Kirie meant that. I fucking would be.
Me? I'm not fit to be a mother. Children can't choose their parents.
It's like normally something kids say to make themselves feel better. She's like, I'm so terrible. My daughter does not deserve me. Give her to fucking adoption. If you're not fit to be a mother, stop. Give someone else a chance. Holy shit.
That poor girl.
Jesus Christ.
Doesn't that go both ways? A parent can't choose what kind of child is born either.
Don't fucking give her anything, Kyrie. Rosa bit her lower lip.
It isn't a matter of who's at fault. You just need to have the mindset of going through life together with her and slowly watch over her as she grows up. Rosa-san, you spend every day with Maria-chan, so you probably don't notice the gradual changes. But the rest of us who've been reunited with her after a year really understand that she's grown up a lot.
And it truly has nothing the fuck to do with your influence at all. That bitch is raising herself on a steady diet of demonology.
If you mean that sincerely, then thank you very much.
God, she's such a cunt.
And if you'll excuse me, if there is anything you desire, please call for it at any time.
Shannon bowed politely and left the room. After Hideyoshi and Rudolph watched her go with turned heads. Hate to see her leave. Love to watch her go. The atmosphere in the room began to revert back to what it had been right before Shannon had visited.
If Father is unable to be here, then that in itself opens up the opportunity for some certain topics. Right, Rudolph?
Yes, that's right. We didn't come all the way out here just to drink some dusty tea, you know. Very well. Why don't we hear this topic that you're scrambling to get to?
My. Those people sure are strong-minded. They really started fast. I must join in as well. If I don't assert myself, they'll quickly forget that there are 4 of us siblings. It can't be easy for you either. Maybe I didn't choose my words well. I'm sorry. No, I don't mind. I'm the one who should be apologizing for existing at all. We're both mothers with daughters, so really we should have more of.
Wait. Kirie's got a daughter? They did mention Battler having a sister, didn't they? Did they? Is that a thing? I cannot. Does he have an older sister or a younger sister? I can't remember. Is it like Kirie's kid from her first marriage or something? I totally forgot about this. She was mentioned at the very beginning of episode 1. Okay, I thought so. Younger sister. Okay. She's not... I think she's definitely going to show up in the story at some point, right? But I don't think she's the one who shows up at the end of the anime. Anyway.
But every time we meet, we talk about something strange. That's the fault of the atmosphere in this mansion. Once we breathe in this air, everyone gets so strained. Just once I want to drink a nice long cup of tea with you, Rosa-san, when we aren't attending a family conference. There's a wonderful coffee shop in Kinzo, which is a favorite of mine. Please let me invite you sometime soon. Thank you, Kirie-san. That sounds good. How horrible. The sky has suddenly gotten dark. It's almost as though the people in this room have made the weather worse. There's already thunder. Oh? Do I see the first signs of rain? Huh?
There really were small splashes of rain on the glass of the parlor window. It seemed that the weather had gotten worse faster than they had expected. Wait a minute, my daughter's out there. Just then a silent thunderbolt struck inside Rosa's head, and she remembered that her beloved child was in the rose garden. A normal girl would think about going into the house if the weather got bad, but Maria was different. She would sometimes become stubborn and wouldn't move no matter whether rain or even spears fell from the sky. Not that she has any experience with the spears. That's right, I told that kid just stay there doing that forever, didn't I?
Oh no. Maria.
At this small exclamation, everyone turned to look at Rosa. Gary said, I just spoiled myself on something, which makes me think Battler's sister must be Beatrice through time fuckery. At this small exclamation, everyone turned to look at Rosa. What? What happened?
I'm sorry. I'm going outside for a second. I'll be right back.
What was that? What's going on with her? Seriously.
Does it matter? She'll be right back. Why don't we just get started with our main topic? Good idea. We can move that on even without Rosa. Yet she's pretty much worthless anyways. Probably why she beats her daughter so much. Let's return to the matter at hand.
Rosa dashed from the entrance hall into the rose garden. When she opened the door, the wind that hit her was too strong to be called a breeze and told her that the typhoon was approaching faster than she had thought. Just as curious, by the end of Umineko, Trixie will have believed everyone to be Beatrice at some point. Maybe everyone is Beatrice at some point or another. Just as Kyrie had said, small droplets of rain were mixed in with the wind. There was also the low rumble of thunder. It could start raining any time. Rosa headed for the rose garden. She headed for the place where she had scolded Maria a short while ago. It was almost lunchtime. The children had been told that they could just come to the mansion at lunchtime, so they were probably in the guest house waiting to be called. Even if Maria didn't come, they would surely think that I had taken her out to the mansion. Oh, I'm supposed to be in her fucking perspective.
Even if Maria didn't come, they would surely think that I had taken her to the mansion with me and wouldn't worry much. After all, she was with her mother, so there shouldn't have been anything to worry about, except I was here and had thrown my daughter into the worsening weather outside all alone. Maria! Are you here? You're here, answer me.
It really was as I'd thought. She was standing stock. Sorry about the voice shifting. I forgot I had to keep her voice.
She was standing stock still, exactly the same way she had been in the place where I had scolded her. Held in her hand was the candy that I had given her, and then stepped on and crushed. With that gripped in her hand, she had been standing there as the strong wind whipped her hair about, tormenting her. I'm sorry. Sorry, Maria. Forgive Mama.
Don't.
Mama, welcome back. I waited a long time for you to come back, Mama. Got pinched by the scary witch, but held out and waited for Mama to come back without crying. Maria, forgive Mama.
Don't.
It's not your fault, Mama. You were just possessed by a bad witch again. I'm fine. Love you, Mama. I love you.
I'm sorry. Mama. Lost to the bad witch. You're not allowed to say that word. That's our word. Forgive me. Rosa buried her face in Maria's small chest, crying and begging forgiveness. And those tears dripped down again, as they had countless times before. If only the brilliant sun had been shining on the two of them, all of their cares would have evaporated, and they would have felt like they could begin anew. However, what surrounded the two of them was the worsening weather. The strong winds mixed in with the sound of thunder were saddening. Rosa noticed the sound of Maria sniffling. If she stood exposed to the wind for too long, she would probably catch a cold.
So, Maria, it will be lunch very soon. Come back to the mansion with Mama. I'm not coming. Why?
Rosa thought that Maria had already forgiven her, so she never imagined she would refuse. But that expression on Maria's face didn't look like that of a child resisting her mother. So Rosa wasn't able to understand why Maria wanted to stand still in the rose garden pointlessly as the weather grew even worse. Maria answered that question.
It's Beatrice. She'll come really soon. So I'm waiting. Maria?
Rosa started to say something, faltered, and then fell silent. They had just gone to great lengths to make up with each other, so she chose her words carefully, trying to get Maria to come with her to the mansion without denying the witch outright. Beatrice is coming? Really? Then instead of waiting here, why don't we wait in the mansion? If you stay in this wind too long, you'll catch a cold.
She'll come. Beatrice will come. And when she does, I'll give candy to her. I'll do the trick or treat.
Oh my god.
I'll give her a jack-o'-lantern marshmallow candy and say Happy Halloween. Woo!
Maria pulled yet another sweet out of her handbag, moaning, ooh, ooh. Rosa was bewildered, not knowing what to do as Maria started being difficult again. Being difficult. Just then, there was a sudden and massive roar of thunder. It was probably a sign. A sign that indicated this island had become closed off by the storm. Let's go. It's a mystery again. So come on, it's Mr. Time. You can help us solve the crime with Scooby. A pup named Scooby-Doo. All right. Closed off from common sense and reality, it said specifically. Therefore, as of this moment, all common sense would no doubt be useless. I mean, the wind blew even stronger, and in the middle of a blizzard of scattered rose petals, a figure appeared, leaving Rosa momentarily unable to imagine that this was a scene from reality. Oh shit, is Rosa actually going to meet the witch this time? No, probably it had to be fantastical, because that figure was shaped like Beatrice, the motherfucking golden witch, the Beatrice. Oh, she's in a uniform. What in the heck?
Beatrice!
Maria dashed over to the figure. Normally, Rosa would scold her daughter if she dashed over to a complete stranger, but Rosa forgot about that, unable to do anything but stand there shocked. It's been a while. Have you been in good health?
I'm in good health. Witches don't catch colds. Woo!
Witches make people catch colds with curses, but how foolish would it be if they caught one themselves? You should focus your energies on ensuring that you do not catch a cold yourself. She petted Maria's head as she said this, smiling roguishly. Rosa couldn't have known the name of the woman who was happily spoiling Maria. However, Maria... What the fuck is she doing being a better mother to my daughter? However, Maria had called to her in the beginning when she had appeared. Therefore, even though Rosa had never met her, and even though she hadn't named herself, Rosa was able to learn her name. However, that name held a special meaning on Rokenjima and in the Ushiromiya family. There was no way something so stupid could...
Beatrice! Happy Halloween! Look, butt beaks! You can have one too! Woo!
Happy Halloween. Oh, for me, you say? Even the single and only light given to a man lost in the darkness of purgatory, unable to go to heaven or hell, looks truly charming when made into a candy like this. Right now, on this island that has been cut off both from the world of humans and the world of non-humans, there may be no sweet more suitable. Why is it cut off from the world of non-humans? Maria, what has happened here? The witch noticed the sweet that Maria was grasping. It was Maria's candy, which had been stomped on by Rosa and had taken on a pitiful shape.
Stepped on and smashed.
Thanks, by the way. I would be like, oh, you didn't have like a good one? Didn't you get offered like a good one by a guy earlier? Why did you have to do... Oh, you want it fixed. This was your... I have to fix my own gift. This is why children... Alright, you know what? You're my apprentice witch. I'll take it in stride.
Can you return it to normal, Beto?
Maria deliberately didn't say that it was her mother who had stepped on it. Is that the first time somebody called her Beto, by the way? Beato? Or did they do that in the like tea scene or whatever? However, when the witch saw the candy, for some reason she looked at Rosa and grinned. A chill went down Rosa's spine as though she felt that this gaze could see through every part of her.
It will be easy.
Give it to me.
Maria held out the candy gleefully. Rosa could do nothing but watch this unfold, stunned. How could this person gloss over the fact that the candy was pitifully trampled in a way that could satisfy Maria? Maria looked as though she believed that it could be fixed as good as new. There was no way that could be done without real magic.
My, it is quite crushed, isn't it? Come, Maria. Close your eyes and try to remember. Because it really was that wonderful a candy. The candies in our memories are always full and fluffy. So you too must close your eyes and try to remember. What kind of candy was it really?
Along with those strange words spoken as though singing an improvised folk song, the witch threw the sweet into the air. Maria had her eyes closed just as the witch had told her and was focused on remembering the shape that the crushed candy had really been. Therefore, only Rosa saw that scene. The sweet witch had been thrown into the air, burst into a gold color. No, those were golden butterflies. It scattered into several golden butterflies, and they began to assemble in the witch's hand, held up to the sky. Candy butterflies. And when they had, unbelievably, the candy had returned to its beautiful original form, just like the time it had been bought. Only Rosa and the witch had watched that scene. Unable to understand the event that was occurring right in front of her eyes, Rosa stood with her mouth open, forgetting to shut it. +1 insight.
You may now open your eyes. Take it. Now your sweet has returned to normal.
Beatrice, you're always awesome.
There was a very bold contrast between Rosa's shocked appearance and Maria's innocently joyful one. What was that? Was that what the witch was laughing at? A smile floated to Beatrice's face, different from the one that she had shown Maria.
Does my face look familiar? If you stare so fixedly, you might burn a hole through it. I'm sorry.
At those words, it hit Rosa strongly. Rosa knew her face. She knew it from the portrait of the witch. But no, wait. Was this mystery woman really?
Maria, I will give this to you in exchange for that sweet.
Letter?
The witch pulled a Western envelope from her pocket and gave it to Maria. However, when Maria made to open it, the witch stopped her.
You must not. The time will come soon to open it, but until then, you must not open it under any circumstances. Take good care of it. It will become an invitation calling you to the Golden Land.
The Golden Land? You're finally going to take me there.
It's not a pleasant experience. You get, melted. I think that's part of getting to the Golden Land.
Take it and tuck it away safely. You must not show it to anyone.
Promise. I always keep my promises with witches.
Good thinking.
And this is for you.
Huh? Me?
She probably hadn't imagined that the witch would speak to her, too. Rosa was bewildered by this second Western envelope which had been thrust before her. By the way, I really hate the tie vest blazer combo. There's a button up under a button up. It's not sensical. She remembered having seen that Western envelope before. There could be no mistake. It was Kinzo's special envelope used when he wrote with his own hand and bearing the Ushiromiya crest. Moreover, it was sealed with red sealing wax, and further still, it had an imprint which seemed to have been made by the head's ring. In other words, irrespective of what was written inside, this woman whom Maria called Beatrice was trusted enough that she was in charge of a personal letter from the current Ushiromiya head.
It could have been any of the 4 siblings. However, the fact that I have met you here probably means that you were chosen by Kinzo's roulette.
Well, that means I'm dying tonight.
So take it and read its contents aloud while seated at the dinner table when all of the siblings are gathered. What did you say?
Rosa looked back and forth several times between the witch's face and the envelope she had been handed. Today was the family conference, and the biggest object of discussion was the inheritance problem. So she had joined together with Ava and Rudolph, and they had planned to force certain conditions upon Kraus to try to extort a prompt payment of several 100 million yen out of him. It was as if the witch could see through all of that. And when all of the siblings are gathered, what is she planning on announcing to us? With a personal envelope that no one but the Ushiromiya head can use.
Maria, the weather is getting worse. Return to the guest house and wait for lunchtime. Well then, Rosa, let us meet later. Allow me to name myself there.
The witch turned her back to her, laughing, and headed off towards the mansion with an air of composure. Maria saw her off with an energetic reply and then dashed off towards the guest house, leaving Rosa where she was. As though she didn't want to waste a second in informing the other cousins of her good fortune at meeting the witch. Ultimately, Rosa was left alone in the rose garden as the winds grew stronger, unable to do anything except pray that what had happened was just a daydream. Or maybe more like a mid-afternoon dream. My favorite scenes are when Beatrice and Maria get together because they're both really fun to voice, and they just have the most adorable interactions. It's like the most pleasant moments in the story. When the witch entered the entrance hall, Genji was there. With a respectful bow, Genji welcomed the guest, who approached from the entrance hall. We have been awaiting you, Beatrice-sama.
It's been a while, Genji. You've gotten old.
No matter how old it is, furniture will only carry out its work like furniture until the end.
I remember how his wife used to be jealous of you.
Now, why would his wife be jealous of Genji? I'm just saying. There's 2 men that Kinzo trusts with his life and has on hand all the time. And one of them seems like a top and one of them seems like a bottom. And Kinzo is obviously a switch. You can decide which one's the top and which one's the bottom for yourself. But I'm just saying, Kinzo has been sandwiched between these men. Sandwiched between.
Is Kinzo well?
He is full of life. Yeah. There's only one person in this whole game who would describe Kinzo as full of life. He might not even be... He's definitely not giving it to Nanjo the same way he's giving it to Genji. Nanjo's like, this motherfucker's got 3 months to live. Genji's like, he's full of life. Holy shit. The witch's laugh was probably because she knew that Kinzo's own doctor had told him that he would not live much longer. She's giggling for the same exact reason I am. I'm telling you. However, if anyone actually looked at Kinzo, his energy and vigor, which made it extremely difficult to imagine that his remaining life really was slim, might make it natural to call him full of life. Maybe the witch had laughed at that. I mean, then again, Dr. Nanjo did say, well, actually, he should be dying by the metrics, but he might be scaring the Grim Reaper. He's got so much energy. I'm just saying, if I know anything about billionaires, is that they like to do these things called freak-offs. And I'm thinking Kinzo only has 2 freak-off partners. Maybe the witch had laughed at that.
Then let us greet him. It will be good to hurl curses at each other after 30 years.
As the witch grinned, she started walking, leaving Genji behind. Her gait was like that of a family member who knew the inside of the mansion well. Genji followed her as though he served her. At that very moment, Kirie-san came out of the parlor. She had probably come out... I don't know why I gave her a "san" suffix when it wasn't in the text. She had probably come out to fix her makeup or something. You know, like a woman does. And when she saw Genji following the witch, she was surprised, although her expression did not change. She doesn't seem to be wearing makeup. There was a visitor, I guess because it's just so natural looking. There was a visitor for Kinzo, whose remaining life was not long, on the day of the family conference when the fate of the inheritance was to be decided. And furthermore, this person was well enough acquainted with the Ushiromiya family that Genji was following behind her. Kirie immediately realized that this person, who she had never met before, was someone deeply important. Kirie met eyes with the witch. Realizing that it would be rude to pretend not to notice, she greeted the witch. She's like just standing enough in front of the picture of her for Kirie not to notice. It's the same face. Like if she moves for a second, it's gonna be like, oh shit, wait a minute.
Pleased to meet you. Rudolph's second wife?
That is correct. This is Kirie-sama, Rudolph-sama's current wife. From this exchange, Kirie realized that this woman was a guest of considerably high rank within the Ushiromiya family. And the fact she was a guest of that level, coupled with the fact of the entrance hall portrait behind her, made Kirie-san's eyes open wide in an instant. Yeah. Gotta become a parent at some point. Wait a minute, you look just like that there golden witch. Huh, she got anime-fied. Very Ocarina of Time.
Pleased to meet you. My name is Kirie. I wonder if this is our first meeting. If we did greet each other before, I apologize for forgetting your name. You already have a vague idea, yet you expect me to waste my breath?
Kirie had thought she had given her a sociable and humble greeting. Her expression grew slightly cloudy at that openly impressive response. You gotta show a little bit more deference. It didn't seem like this was a person she could grow to like. But if Kirie's imagination was correct, this witch likely held a huge key to what her own husband was most interested in, and one that stood a great chance of influencing tonight's family conference. Yeah, why is she dressed like the most ridiculous schoolgirl in the universe, though? So she did not shoot back a retort and could only watch in silence as the woman went up the stairs to the second floor with Genji following behind. So when someone tapped her shoulder from behind, she was so surprised she almost choked. It was Natsuhi.
Kirie-san, standing still in a place like this, is something the matter? I'm sorry. I was just a little fascinated by the portrait of the witch. The Golden Witch Beatrice, was it? Something like the revival of the Ushiromiya family to what it is today would never have been possible without the gold she gave. A fantastical story, very much like father.
Natsuhi spoke of her in her usual way. She spoke from the position that the idea of a witch was just foolish, and that in the end it was nothing more than Kinzo's ramblings. However, for some reason, that no longer felt right to Kirie. Just now, she herself had seen the Golden Witch come in from the entrance hall and climb the stairs. So Natsuhi's choice of words seemed almost like a refusal to accept her existence, or as if she was leading her to think that she did not exist.
I'm sorry. I think I'm feeling a bit of a headache. I think I'll rest for a little while. Oh, is that so? Then I have some good headache medicine. Allow me to prepare it for you.
I really have a hard time nailing down a voice for either of them. I feel like I read it a little differently almost every time. The hallway in front of Kinzo's study was filled with the scent of sweet poison particular to that green liquor. I forgot about his fucking weird-ass green, not Midori liquor. Genji, who was completely used to it, did not grimace. And the Golden Witch didn't grimace either. Oh shit, it's the freak-off. It's happening. This is how every freak-off starts. A bunch of fucking weird billionaires in a room, drinking weird green liquid.
When was the last time he left his room?
I believe it has already been several years.
He is that intent on making me a bird in a cage. Alas. Now you who made that wish are the bird in the cage. The ghost of the study, are you not?
That's a fun title for him.
What a pitiful man to not recognize that.
The ghost of the study. She just titled his ass the second she got there. Huh. You know what you are? Ghost of the study ass motherfucker. He would probably continue his research until the day he could meet you again, even if he literally became a ghost.
Is it love or madness or obsession? I suppose they too will become magic if well enough developed. You sad mage.
Another good name, Sad Mage. The witch grasped the doorknob to the study. When she did, there was a sound like that of flesh burning and splitting open. It was the sound of the doorknob literally burning the witch's hand. Burn the witch! Beatrice-sama.
What is this? A magic
ward? That fool, is he unable to get by without relying on something like this? You know how many fucking demons are probably after his ass? I have heard that this door is painful for you, Beatrice-sama. You couldn't have fucking said something before she reached for the handle? Shall I open it?
No, it is fine. If he wins, I will be a bird in a cage for all eternity.
Well, that's not good. I didn't realize the stakes were so high for her.
If he loses, only the life of a laughingstock will be left. The life of a pitiful mage who went mad with love and lost everything. Already Kinzo and even I are nothing more than pieces laid out on the game board. All that is left is for the result of the roulette to decide who wins and who loses. Until the roulette shows its result, there is no need for me to be reunited with Kinzo. The witch looked at her hand, which, although horribly burned, was beginning to heal bit by bit. Oh, she's got that Bakano juice. And so the ward, perhaps? I see. That is also honorable. Now everything is on top of Kinzo's game board. I like it, Kinzo. Allow me to enjoy my game with you. Allow me to enjoy the final gamble and fall of an aged mage who fell in love with me and threw it all away. His life. Threw away all his life, I mean.
Hey, the crack. We got cracked. And now it's like 1 in the... Is it 1 in the afternoon? Yeah, 13 o'clock. Okay. I guess the rain makes it seem later than it is. Let's go ahead and save that. I'm going to go to the bathroom and grab myself a snack, and I will be back in 5 minutes. So take a break if you need one. Let me like put on a song or something so it's not just a nothing stream while I'm gone. I've got a song that's 5 minutes long. The whole day. Alternate probabilities existing in the same room.
homophobe, of a homicide, of a homophobe. I promise I gotta lock it low with the tentacle of a transphobe in the funnel lobe like spread ahead like a centerfold. I'm horrifying to behold like I'm floating out in a dungeon crawl of a holder older than my age, ever present age, ever shaking legs. If you like me to a beg, and without much of a cloud muncher, a bed puncher, a cop dodger, a call father, a cat caller, on a cat collar, a cat collar, on a cat collar. Well, I'm a scrappy little beast. Every dog up in this bitch is chomping at the piece. I'm a peaceful, blissed out hippie with a mean streak. Please be stepping to the front so you can see me in your face. Every place I visit, I'm ugly, cute like an ungulate. I'm fun to spit with, then I'll make you jump if you want. Let me see those motherfucking paws up, paws up. Yeah. If you cry, let me see those motherfucking paws up, paws up. If you cry, pause. My heart is lemonade, raised by your northern Everglades. This will swap me, yay, chickle stomp your face. If you don't decay, I'm on parade every single day, everywhere I stay. Been around the bay and around the USA. Lay my head in Corbin next to Colonel's head, instead I pray. The houses in LA, all price drop rapidly. Maybe wait till richer residents are on vacay and sort of stow away until the deed is mine. Fuck it, we squat today. Yeah.
They arrest all of us?
They will. Get real, get right, get money, get tight, get honey, get by, get horny, get fly, get money, get mine, kill Tony, do cry, no phony, don't lie, get on it, get real, get right, get money, get tight, get honey, get by, get horny, get fly, get money, get mine. I'm a scrappy little beast. Every dog up in this bitch is chomping at the piece. I'm a peaceful, blissed out hippie with a mean streak. Please be stepping to the front so you can see me in your face. Every place I visit, I'm ugly, cute like an ungulate. I'm fun to spit with, then I'll make you jump if you crunk. Let me see the motherfucking bars up, bars up. Yo, if you crunk, let me see the motherfucking bars up, bars up. Yo, if you crunk, let me see the motherfucking bars up, bars up. Yeah, real, yeah, right, bars up, bars up.
Yeah. All right, tell them.
Motherfuckers think I don't sleep, don't eat, just peep game, and they right. I'm a too bright night light, strike you blind, make you frightful, so delightful. My brightener, if you're hiding something in that darkness, she's a frightener. Hearkens our garden of Eden to the sweetest hardening of a gleam spark. Here we go, get it raw, saw you glance, Eric. You entranced by the camera, slammed by a man, bruh. Clamoring for more RAM in your gams, bruh. Man, loving man, I'm a fan, bruh. Saucy, yeah. I'm a scrappy little beast. Every dog up in this place is chomping at the piece. I'm a peaceful, blissed out hippie with a mean streak. Please, peace, get into the front so you can see me in your face. Every place I visit, I'm ugly, cute like an ungulate. I'm fun to spit with, then I'll make you jump if you crunk. Let me see those proper fucking paws up, paws up. Yeah. If you crunk, let me see those proper fucking paws up, yeah. If you crunk, let me see those proper fucking paws up. Wanna stroll through my soul, you pay the troll toll each day. Rent if you wanna stay inside of me. Spent like a referee, whether be cheddars, but I get heavy dick in it when I win it, better bet. Checks are an old idea, do you remember? We rhymed about getting them from January through December. I've always been a spender with some cheap taste. Burned to a whole pound of green with some mean haze, like I'm Titus with the Midas touch.
Oh, yeah, I'm back. Thank you, Ellen, for pointing out. As a reminder, if you enjoy the Umineko streams, consider donating some cash to keep them going. People have done this. I've probably made like $20 to $25 each stream from people who either send me Venmo cash or what's the other one? Not Zelle. I can use that too. Cash App. People have sent me money specifically for Umineko or sent super stickers and stuff like that. Specifically in the name of keeping Umineko alive. Obviously, I still don't make enough doing it to make sure it happens every single Wednesday, since we didn't get one last Wednesday, because I was more concerned about the Perfect Blue video, which until today, around the start of this stream, when I found out it has been demonetized, I was doing a little well with monetization. It made like $17, which is actually a lot to make on 4.4K views. It means that people watched like all 4 ad breaks consistently if they did watch the ads, which is crazy. But like, well, I guess that whole $17 probably wasn't just that one video. It was like the total on that channel. But nonetheless, it's not going to make any more money now other than people who see it and then sign up for Patreon. Yeah, Lionsgate has seemingly recognized their content in it. They didn't take it down or affect the visibility at all, but it did lose monetization, which is unfortunate. But I don't really rely on monetization in the first place. I never have. It's always kind of been a secondary stream of income, but it's so fucking hard for me to keep my videos monetized. Ideally, if I had sponsorships, that would help with making the content affordable on my end. But it's mostly been y'all. Y'all make all this shit possible. Y'all keep me employed enough to do this, barely right now. But but it's working. It's working enough. It's working enough. I can keep making y'all content. Gary says it might really be my best video. Thank you. I agree. I think it's hard for me to think of another. I mean, I don't know if it's conceptually as good as like, because I guess I consider my best video to be the Astro Score Sucks Complete series, just because even though there's like plenty I would cut from it, and I wouldn't say it's as like perfectly written as the Perfect Blue video. Obviously, nothing is perfect, but that was the goal with it, was to make something closely approximating the idea of a perfect analysis video. But I don't know if talking about one movie can ever be as like memorable as talking about like the broad, aspects of anime. Although the movie is also the review rather is also a commentary on just perfectionism and narcissism in general. So there is kind of a broad social commentary aspect to it that goes beyond it just being a Perfect Blue analysis. So I don't know. I guess you could probably make the argument, yeah, it's probably my best video. I think it might be my best video. It's definitely my best edit that I ever did. Best edit that was not done by another editor. Okay, let's continue playing this fucking video game, yeah? Who is it? No answer. Who is it? No answer. I said, who is it? They weren't saying anything. Okay, enough. It's Albuquerque. If you don't know it, look it up. Excuse me. I have brought lunch. Enter. Excuse me. After receiving approval, Kanon entered the VIP room, pushing the lunch serving cart. The servants called this room the Witch's VIP room. That was because they had been strictly ordered by Kinzo to always keep it clean so that it could be used at any time. And yet guests were never allowed into this room, no matter who they were. That's why at some point the servants had started calling it the Witch's VIP room, supposed to be set aside only to welcome the special person Kinzo was waiting for, the witch from that portrait. I know we've talked about it. I've tried not to belabor the point of how much this fucking story belabors the point, but boy, does it do that. Dean said you only listened to it. You didn't get to experience my best edit. It's not even that it's necessarily like some impressive thing that would like make it like a tremendously better experience, so much as that it's just very smooth. It's very easy to watch because it feels like the same experience as watching the movie. Anyway, enough of that. And today, Kanon learned that this was entirely correct. When he entered the room, the witch with golden hair was gazing out the window. Outside, the rain had already started to gather strength. As she looked out the beautiful rose garden, which had taken several days' work to make ready for today, and saw the winds and rain ravage it, she was lost in some sentimental feelings. Was she lost in some sentimental feelings? Kanon was not able to infer anything more from her back that faced him. I will prepare your meal, Beatrice-sama. So Kanon went out of his way to call out the witch's name, because he wanted to make her turn around. He wanted to know. He wanted to know whether the witch who had tempted him and Shannon in the past really had appeared again. When he did, the witch whose name had been called kept her back to him and laughed in a subdued voice. Kanon was startled. It was almost as though she had read his mind and knew that he had called to her out of a desire to make her turn around.
It smells good. It appears that Kraus has employed a good cook. Yes, he is a cook called Goda who was employed in recent years. There's nothing better than being skilled at cooking.
Exactly. That's why I picked my man. Gourmet food forms one of the three pillars of the pleasure of life in the human world. Yeah. Food, drink, weed. The secret to not tiring of 1,000 years is to have it in sufficiency. Kanon and the witch's eyes met. I should have read that. I giggled when it said cackle. I misunderstood that cackling is a ha-ha, not a giggling noise. And she grinned. There could be no doubt, not even the slightest. This was without a doubt the witch from that day, Beatrice. The witch that was once visible only to him and Shannon now finally held a form and had arrived openly to the entrance hall as a guest. Beatrice. Sama. It has been a long time. Furniture called a Kanon. It has been a long time. Kanon tried not to forget a modicum of courtesy toward the guest, but dark clouds had begun to enshroud his heart because of the visit of the suspicious witch, and on the day of the family conference at that. It looks to me that you are dying to know my purpose in appearing here. Isn't that so? I'm a little surprised that Kanon would be... I mean, I know he's like suspicious of the witch, but you would think he would be kind of ready for like some change around here. You know, maybe something that was gonna stir the pot a little. I don't really get the sense he likes almost anybody actually in this house, except for Shannon. Maybe Kama Sawa or whatever the fuck her name is. Kanon didn't force himself to answer. This witch probably reads minds, so it would be pointless to go to all the trouble of saying it out loud. You don't gotta read minds when you're old, you just know what people are thinking. Of course, even that rebellious spirit of his would be read. So the witch snickered at Kanon's childish resistance. I came to resolve my final promise with Kinzo. Your final promise with the master? I lent Kinzo a mountain of gold. When Kinzo gives that up, it will be returned to me with interest. Oh, no. Hey, Bird's here. Let him cook. birds awake. Yee. This makes me happy.
I came here tonight to receive that. I don't know what you're talking about.
However, anxiety began to gather in his heart. This witch never had anything good to say. Hey, that's not true.
You are not wrong. Witches have nothing good to say.
Well, I guess if she says it, then
You are correct. Be that as it may, witches like blunt scissors can be put to use.
through the eyes.
Sometimes there are people like King Solomon who succeeded at great exploits. In most cases, one does not meet with a good fate such as those described in fairy tales, of course.
I don't know enough about King Solomon to know what the fuck she means by that.
But Kinzo's crafty. He has incorporated even my collection of interests into his own ritual. Is he a tremendous mage surpassing even me? Or else a fool possessed by madness? Interesting. Truly interesting.
Kanon couldn't guess what the witch was muttering and laughing about. All he knew was that anything this witch deemed worthy of laughter must have the exact opposite meaning to the rest of them. And rising to the back of his mind were the horrifying words the witch had spat at him in the past. Back when she was dressed cool.
Did you think I would lend them that power without any compensation? I'll lend a hand in love, and my compensation shall be one ticket to watch the cruel fate that the two of them will eventually meet. Even after 1,000 years, no better show exists.
Same face.
Could it be? You... Behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved home of old. You who seek the golden land, follow its path downstream in search of the key.
The witch suddenly began to recite a bizarre poem. It was something he remembered hearing.
Could that be the witch's epitaph?
There was no doubt. It was the epitaph accompanying the portrait of the witch that had been hung by Kinzo. The relatives imagined that it almost certainly pointed to the location of the hidden gold, but no one knew what it meant. The witch had suddenly begun reciting that epitaph.
Kanon. As furniture, you must have heard about this from Kinzo. The day when everything will be returned to the golden land has come. Rejoice! The time has finally come for your shameful days as furniture to end. I believe you have been wanting that for a long time. To furniture whose existence has no value, just existing day to day must be nothing but agony.
For those with souls, the world of the living is worth clinging on to, but those without find it to be nothing but suffering. Complicated expressions flitted across Kanon's face. It was the day of release that he had been looking forward to. However, the coming of this day had been mercilessly sudden. At the hateful tone of the witch who had proclaimed this day of rest made it somehow difficult to accept. Kanon wasn't even able to decide what emotion he should feel.
Why are you not happy? Could you actually still have some attachments to this world? As furniture? I have no attachments, because I am furniture. You truly are a model piece of furniture. Very good, very good. However, to have no lingering regrets at all, how deeply uninteresting this is. Are you saying that regrets are your pleasure? Precisely! Most witches who live for 1,000 years get tired of life. In order to escape boredom, I adorn people's fates with fruit and brandy and cook them like cakes. I find humans dancing through oppressive fates inside an oven to be so very entertaining. I've made somewhat of a name for myself in this field, you know. So much so that unexpected guests occasionally come from afar to witness my culinary skills. Mere furniture can't understand this. I am wasting my time. No, she's just made herself hungry. Kanon wasn't able to understand what the witch was saying. However, he realized well enough that this was a terrifying being who treated the fates of humans as a show, and was getting enjoyment out of doing them some kind of harm. However, furniture had no soul or life, much less a fate. Pitiful furniture did nothing but serve until the day they would be released from the world. To furniture like that, the witch who had come to release them from everything was also a being overflowing with mercy. Even though the day that Kanon had been waiting impatiently for had come, he was unable to readily accept it, and this greatly bewildered him. Why was that? The face of Shannon, the person he loved as a sister, rose to his mind, and for some reason Jessica's face did too. Uh-oh. He's got the horny for Jessica. Kanon bit his lower lip painfully. Thinking of Jessica was not permitted for furniture. He had been aware of that and had found fault with Shannon's relationship, so how could he remember Jessica at a time like this? He felt a little ashamed by how weak he was, and to forget about Jessica, he turned his thoughts to Shannon. Shannon is also furniture. On the day everything returns to nothing, there was no reason she shouldn't be happy. But Shannon, through her relationship with George, had come to know an emotion that shouldn't be known by furniture. Even though she wasn't qualified to be bound with him, she was still wallowing in a dream that she wasn't permitted to have. Could Shannon accept something like this now with open arms? Impossible. Shannon would have lingering regrets. That would probably become a great source of pain and torture for Shannon. And those regrets had been planted by none other than this witch. Why? Just because that would be more interesting? Shannon should have been waiting impatiently for this day, but now she will have emotions that she must not know, and will probably have a very hard time forced upon her. I thank you for gifting us furniture the day of our release, and I hate you for making this day difficult for Shannon to accept. I wanted to make you feel pain from your regrets as well, just like Shannon. However, with stubborn simplicity, you continued to remain furniture and never allowed me to lead you on. However, it looks like you loved Shannon too dearly, didn't you? Shannon's regrets became your regrets. Will that turn into hatred for me? If you want to kill me, you can try. Well, we saw how that went in chapter 1. As Kinzo's furniture, you should have that much power at least. However, if you kill me, the day of rest for you furniture will not come for all eternity. Could you withstand that? Can you really reject your release by me? Kneel. What? Kneel and kiss my shoes. Uh-oh, she's gonna start doing foot fetish shit now. Otherwise, I will leave this place. I will go back and never show myself again for all eternity. So, Kanon, could you withstand that? If the door to the Golden Land is opened, your life as furniture that has been full of hardship will end. Not app with $10. Ayy. Rant about which images to play this game with. Original Ryu artwork, redrawn PlayStation artwork, and redrawn Pachinko artwork. What's your favorite? I don't know if I know the Pachinko artwork. Well, I really hate Ryukishi's art for this game. I mean, it's cute. It's like, okay, the Pachinko game looks ridiculous. The Pachinko game looks way edgy, like very
Reminds me of like Kakegurui type, like edgy face artwork. Definitely not a fan of that. Um, this version, the art is just like kind of generic. Like it looks good. It's just not as there's not the same heart as the original. I understand why people like the original because it's got I mean, you feel what Ryukishi wanted the characters to be like, but they look like fucking pudding. And like with Higurashi, the characters were at least like pretty adorable, but when he tries to draw like adults and especially guys, it's really just George and Kinzo. Like I remember when I first tried to play Umineko after seeing the anime, I tried to play the original version, and coming off the heels of the anime character designs, I just could not make it through Kinzo and George's faces looking like just so scrunched up and fucked ugly, and like I also just did not have the attention span for this type of game back then, but um you know, this version is like passing, you know, it looks just generically looks good. There's nothing wrong with it. Well, sometimes it can be a little bit cheesy, but I don't know. I like the way the faces are drawn and everything. The hairstyles look really cool. The outfits, some of them leave something to be desired, but some of them are pretty great.
If you desire, I will even give you life as a human. After that, you will be on the same level as Jessica. Surely you want to know of it, the taste of love. I know, even if you try to hide it, you see. You grew jealous seeing Shannon wallow in the swamp of sweet love. You are sorely tempted to know the taste of love. Stop it. Stop it. Are you trying to lead me on again? I won't be reduced to a toy to please you. Oh. Then I will make do with Shannon. You weren't the only seed I sowed. There are sometimes those that don't bear fruit. You who laid hand upon the key must journey as follows to the Golden Land. On the first twilight, sacrifice the six chosen by the key. On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the two who are close. The witch recited the epitaph again. It was so sudden and diverged so strongly from the current topic. However, her challenging smile made it seem almost as though she were using that epitaph as a threat to Kanon. Do you not understand? For the ritual of the epitaph to succeed, on the second twilight, two who are close must be sacrificed. It could be any two who are close, a husband and wife, or even a pair of lovers. Who will be selected is up to me to decide on a whim, following the rules of the ritual. Don't you think that there is no one more fitting to be a sacrifice for the second twilight than Shannon as she is now? What a dirty... Kanon learned then. He had thought that he had given up everything and lived until today as furniture like furniture should. But in reality that wasn't true. He had loved Shannon too dearly. And so when Shannon was in pain, Kanon shared in that. If only Shannon had continued to exist as furniture, living indifferently like Kanon without any attachments to this world, they wouldn't have had to be in so much pain. The witch planned to toy with Shannon, who had learned the taste of love, no, who she had taught the taste of love, as she killed her. She would not invite her to the Golden Land as a merciful release, but would make her a sacrifice for that evil ritual after dealing her the limits of torture and pain. And this witch would probably actually make Shannon meet this horrible fate for no other reason than it would be most interesting for her. Furthermore, she was threatening to do that so that she could make Kanon... I feel like whenever we're in Kanon's perspective, he has to break everything down to the most granular details. I don't know if that's just a Kanon thing. Like, I know the manga kind of does that a lot, but it's like especially bad when he's
we're like in his perspective. He's like working through every little detail. Who hadn't submitted to the witch even once until now finally surrender. It was that simple. In the end, though he had tried resisting the witch to avoid pleasing her, he had only made things interesting for her. After all, he was furniture. No, a toy. They were nothing but toys. Oh shit, they've graduated from furniture to toys. They were nothing but toys meant only to distract her from her boredom. Damn it. What will you do, Kanon? If you kneel, I may even hold back from choosing Shannon as a sacrifice. I always wanted the chance to break a toy like you. Without even a fragment of elegance, the witch sneered at Kanon with a vulgar laugh. Yes, even before Kanon has made up his mind, she had seen through to his surrender. Kanon got down on one knee and chose to genuflect before the witch. That's right. He didn't care what happened to himself. However, just the fact that Shannon, who during his days as furniture had given him his only reason to live, was being toyed with, that alone was something that he couldn't overlook. Therefore, something like kissing the shoes of the witch was an easy oath for Kanon to make. At the time that his quivering lips actually touched the witch's shoe, Beatrice, kick him in the fucking teeth, after allowing the look of ecstasy to rise to her face, let out an ear-splitting laugh. Damn, she really does got that foot fetish going on, though. In that moment, the witch, who had tired of 1,000 years of life, was completely filled with the evil emotion that was her only raison d'etre. Is that how you pronounce that? Raison d'etre? Lunch had ended and the relatives had moved to the parlor. Rosa had bought a high-class brand of black tea from a famous store in Kinzo that had been served, and the inside of the parlor was filled with a very nice aroma. Since the children were together with the adults were, at least on the surface, interacting like relatives, talking peacefully about recent events and how their children were growing up. It had started raining outside, so the children were unable to go out and had no choice but to sit here like this watching TV. Like a true TV kid, Maria was watching vapid daytime programs one after another without getting bored and was giggling all to herself. It seemed that Battler had joined in at first, deepening his relationship with Maria, but he had gotten up early that morning and so was gradually attacked by waves of drowsiness. Is it not a little out of pocket of Ryukishi to just be like, yeah, those TV shows fucking vapid? Oh, that's a big yawn. Did you get up really early this morning? Well, something like that. I started to relax and release all my tension, and then I got sleepy while I was listening to the sound of the rain. Tension? You go around making yourself the center of attention, and now you're saying you were tense? That's me, I guess. Battler gave a great yawn once again and slowly lay down on the sofa. He really did look tired. I'm starting to get tired, and Bird's here, which makes me want to go hang out with Bird. Bird, do you think I should hang up this live stream and come hang out with you? Or do you vote spoil the audience a little bit more? George and the others had started talking to him, taking his yawns as a sign of boredom, but when they realized he really was sleepy, they decided to let him be. My. They say that if you lie down right after eating, you'll become a mackerel. Oh. Stop kidding around. Goda-san said that tonight would be calf steak. In a minute, it's going to end up as a mackerel steak. Kumasawa-san, this guy really does look tired. You think you could bring him a blanket? Oh, there you go. Kumasawa brought a blanket over from the shelf. The spacious parlor wasn't cold, but the air had gotten a little chilly. So when the blanket was placed over Battler, he immediately wrapped himself up in it and curled up like a turtle retreating into its shell. You really were sleepy. When do you want to wake up? I'll take care of it.
Nah, I don't care when. You can wake me up if there's something you want. And if there's nothing, you can let me sleep forever. Good night.
What? Battler sleeping? Nap time? Nap time? Woo, me too. Hey, Maria. Battler's sleepy, so you gotta leave him alone. Kumasawa-san, can we get another blanket?
It was doubtful that Maria really wanted to take a nap. She probably just saw Battler wrapped up in a blanket and wanted to do the same. When she received the blanket from Kumasawa, she joyfully wrapped herself up in it and set up camp again in front of the TV.
Sheesh. Even though all of his cousins are finally together after 6 years, Dude doesn't have a clue that he's the main guest of this family conference, does he?
I can hear you. I've had a nice peaceful lunch, and there's even a typhoon and rain outside. There's nothing to do, and what that means is it's not my turn yet. I wonder about that. If you have a passive attitude like that and don't do anything unless something happens, your life will be pretty boring, you know? No, that's not what I mean. How should I say it? In times like this, I've decided to think this way. It isn't my turn. If this were a play, it wouldn't be my turn to go on stage. A weirdly self-aware way to be like, I'm not going to do as much this chapter. So the best thing to do is stay in the wings.
You're always the main character of your own life, right? Why are you acting like a supporting actor? You have to get up on the stage yourself without being pushed.
That's not what I mean. I'm just saying it's not my turn right now. Sorry, I'm sleepy and my mind's a mess. I know exactly what he means. Just let me be. So it seems. You're so sleepy that you aren't making any sense. Let's leave him alone now.
I can't let that one slide. You're always the main character in your own life.
Not necessarily.
I kind of want to have a serious argument with Battler about that.
He's just half asleep. Don't take him too seriously.
I don't know why, but that kind of personality saying you don't want to get up on the stage because you can't be the main character, something about that really pissed me off.
I mean, not every character is in every fucking scene, Jessica. Like, sometimes you are like backstage. With distant eyes, Jessica gazed out the window at the gray rose garden obscured by rain. When she put her forehead up against the glass, it felt as though the pleasantly cool sensation would chase away memories that she didn't want to remember. It wasn't your turn yet. Was that it? Who is she talking about? Then, when will you get up on the stage? Who is she talking about? In that case, who is the main character on this stage? I do believe each chapter has like a sort of like chapter 1, it was Natsuhi, right? Like she was the one who ended up with the gun, like kind of leading the pack. This chapter, it's got to be probably Kanon, right? You're just doing whatever you goddamn want. What the shit is this? This is just demented. Your argument regarding 18 or 19 people, which you use as a basis to deny me, was truly ludicrous, you see. So I merely tried a different move. The greatest basis upon which you deny me is simply that I was not laid out as a piece on the game board. In that case, I can simply play the queen first like this, can I not? Okay. So that's her ploy is, what if I had just fucking walked in the door then? You're gonna say me I'm not real if that had been the case? Isn't opening the path for the queen in the first move one of the classic plays in chess? Real fucking funny. How the hell can I accept something like this? A witch just came walking in right through the entrance hall? What a royal load of bullshit. What's this? In the last game, I let you make moves as and when you pleased, you know. All I have done on this occasion is to move a piece to match your moves. Are you resigning already on the very first turn? Up yours. Like hell I am. Who's gonna resign? Great move. Why don't you just keep on playing however you like? I get it. Your turn is far from over. Move however you like. Form a huge battle formation while you can. I will definitely endure it. I will definitely corner you. Come at me as best you can. I don't want you to have any excuses. This much isn't even close to enough to make me accept something like a witch. That's right. Just now it looked like you fixed Maria's candy with magic, but you might have actually had another one of the same candy hidden in your pocket and switched them with some fancy showmanship, making it only look like you had fixed it with magic. Yeah, that's right. That has to be it. It's no good. It's no goddamn good. Rosa saw the moment when the candy split into butterflies, did she not? Whatever, I don't care. That was a hallucination or a trick, or otherwise she just saw it wrong. That isn't a big problem.
She saw it wrong. I want to know how is the story being communicated to Battler? That he understands it as that she simply saw it wrong, and that's what disqualifies it.
So you throw out the part you can't explain as trivial? I see. Is that your move in response to mine? You've dug your own grave. Ushiromia Batora. It still isn't your turn yet. Allow me to continue my move for a little longer. It has barely begun. The turn of the witch. Oh shit. Is that the name of this chapter? Return of the Witch? Return of the Witch. When they started hearing Battler's snores, the relatives went their separate ways, leaving the parlor and letting Battler sleep in silence. Even though it had been so lively in the parlor with so many people gathered there, when all of them scattered at once and were sucked into the vast mansion, it created an eerie silence with no sound except that of the rain. Like how they're described as being sucked into the mansion. Nope. I've never once met a person like that. Anaki? I've never met her. Kirie-san, is that true? Even I only greeted her quickly when she came into the...
Sorry, watch out for your microphone.
Oh. What's up?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Umineko. No knocking core on me. I got ambushed. You smell nice.
Thanks.
How's the sleep?
I mean, I haven't really been asleep for like 2 hours, so
Oh,
I woke up pretty much right when you started this.
amazing. I came up to see if you were awake even before I started, and you were asleep.
Rude.
Amazing. Gumbo combo. Should I keep this going or should I come to bed?
Do whatever you want, honey.
I'll do it for a little bit. I'll try to find the end of this chapter. Because I am getting sleepy.
Just like that gap in this.
Yeah, Battler was all sleepy and fucking eepy and shit. Alright, I'm going to continue a little farther. She looked like she was a little over 20. I told her my name, but she didn't tell me hers. She was being guided by Genji-san, and I saw her go up to the second floor.
So it'd probably be faster to find Genji-san and hear the story from him directly. Still, what a strange turn of affairs.
The mystery woman had spoken to Kyrie. Without naming herself, she had sneered that Kyrie already had a vague idea of who she was, and the person that brought to mind was her look-alike, the Witch of the Portrait. Is this just like what the portrait looks like in this version of the story? Like, was she trying to say that she's the Witch of the Portrait? That's what I understood her to be laughing at. Even though it was our first meeting, she spoke as though she knew I'm your second wife. Aniki, you really don't know someone like that? Stop asking me that. I have never seen a blonde woman like that go in or out of this mansion.
None of that matters. The problem is what happens if that woman starts calling herself Beatrice, if she starts calling herself the manager of father's assets.
Or maybe she has plans to call herself his mistress's daughter and demand a portion of the inheritance. Either way, an outrageous joker has been slipped into the deck. Didn't Nissan call her? Or did father?
This is bad. We've been thinking that if we did a good enough job cornering Aniki in our discussion, we might be able to work things out. But this takes us back to square one.
I don't know what kind of schemes you've been plotting when I'm not around, baby. But it looks like we've been given a little time to form a counter strategy.
Yeah, thinking about what would have happened if Miss Blondie had suddenly appeared at the dinner table and scared the shit out of us, we should be glad we've at least been given a little time to discuss a counter strategy. There's only so many counter strategies we can use if we don't know what she came to do. What could she be after?
Isn't it obvious? It's to claim that she's the rightful heir to father's inheritance. Father is still captivated by Beatrice. If the two of them had a daughter, he'd be bound to say that he wants to hand her all of his assets. She might even thrust some strange will before us. Sure, if we took it to court, we might be able to claim a quarter or half of it. But we probably wouldn't be able to split the inheritance until that was resolved. That's a problem. For me and for Rudolph. And of course for Rosa too, right? Theodore Tybalt, thank you for saying that my Perfect Blue analysis is maybe the best media analysis you've ever seen. That's beautiful of you to say. I feel like I've seen... I would recommend getting into Film Crit Hulk. Film Crit Hulk writes incredibly long analytical articles and is a big influence on me, especially in the early days of my writing, and still writes really great long articles. I think if you really like my work that much, you would almost inevitably have to enjoy his work as well. I just don't want people to call me the very tippity top when I know there's people that I look up to, you know. Anyway, for all of our various situations, we need a large sum of money urgently. It's our biggest weak point. Then, what are they after? Kyrie, can you tell? It's the first I've heard of it, but one of the premises here is that we have an urgent need for a large sum of money, right?
Kyrie-san, when you're on the offensive in a man's business, that's the time you need funding. Please understand that.
What's this, Rudolph? You hadn't told Kyrie-san about it?
Sorry, I wasn't really hiding it. The truth is, we've been having a bit of a...
It's all right. You decided it wasn't necessary to tell me about it, so I won't press you about it here. What's more important is finding out what the Golden Witch is after, right?
Yes. Putting together everything we've said, can you see what move the enemy will make against us?
Rudolph had a certain measure of trust in Kyrie's unique thinking technique, chessboard thinking.
Yeah, we are quite abreast of the chessboard thinking. Of course, it didn't give him any more peace of mind than fortune-telling, but every time Rudolph was concocting some important strategy, he would give a great deal of thought to Kyrie's advice. For a while, Kyrie pressed her finger against her forehead, considering.
Judging by the fact that her coming here was kept hidden until today, one of her goals is some kind of surprise that she wants to give us. We can't know whether that has something to do with assets or being recognized as a relative. However, because her visit was kept hidden until today, maybe we can say that she didn't want to get hit with a countermeasure by notifying us in advance, which means that it seems her goal is one where it would be disadvantageous to her if we did take some countermeasure. Understand? I get it. For example, if it was something like a will which Dad had written previously, or acknowledgement as a blood relative plus accompanying proof, if we assume she's brought something like that, then if it was completely unshakable, if it was rock-solid proof, you'd think she'd actually have announced it beforehand. That's right. Since we are in a position to doubt her, she should have made us bring our lawyers and experts, and thrust some completely undeniable proof before us. If she could.
So just given that the enemy's aiming for a surprise attack, that alone tells us she couldn't beat us with an honest attack from the front. Makes sense. If you've got a trump card that'll win for sure, you gotta play it out boldly. Play it in a roundabout way, and odds are you're going to tarnish its impact. I'm a gambling addict.
To skip to that conclusion, we should probably expect that some huge surprise will be thrust in front of us, something related either directly to or indirectly to the inheritance problem that everyone is so infatuated with. The other party is probably under the impression that they will be able to overpower us with the impact of this alone. However, even if this carries with it a significant impact, it is not absolute. In other words, we have enough leeway to take advantage of this.
You've really got brains. Even understanding just this much is really reassuring. So you're telling us not to get sucked into our opponent's pace.
In the end, it's an extremely simple conclusion. Maybe Kyrie is the main character. No matter what the opponent brings up, interact calmly without panicking. That's negotiation 101. I really can't call that predicting our opponent's thoughts.
Now she's getting all fucking pretentious about it. Come on. Just like usual, that was pretty good. Now that we know that we have a little leeway to attack, it gives us a little more room to relax. You shouldn't relax.
What we don't know is how she's connected to Kraus-Nissan. Is it a surprise for Kraus-Nissan too, or was the person who called her here none other than Kraus-Nissan himself? If it's the latter, it might make things very troublesome. Yes, secretly calling a mystery woman on the day of the family conference, that detestable style somehow feels like Nissan.
Aniki, let's handle it like this. As long as she can't clearly prove her identity, we won't acknowledge her as having any status whatsoever.
That would be best. In point of fact, she hasn't even named herself to Kyrie-san. We can't let our conference be disturbed by the statements of some unknown woman.
She might show us proof that she's a blood relative or something. If she can show that father's blood runs through her veins, like with a maternity record document, there's nothing we can do. We can suspect any proof of being fake. Even if it is the real thing, in order to prove that she is the person mentioned, we would need to involve a hospital. At the very least, it will be impossible to prove that now on Rokunjima.
Yes, that's it exactly. In other words, what it boils down to is this. No matter what is shown to us now on Rokunjima, it can't be accepted as truth. So we can't believe anything until the typhoon passes and they prove it to us at the proper place.
Constantly finding fault like that is your specialty, Aniki. You truly are the world's greatest gun. This is gonna be all down to you.
Are you an idiot? You'll be helping too. We need money. And quickly, and a large sum. We're all in this together.
Oh my god, spoken like the US government.
There's no way I'm having my prospects of an inheritance destroyed now by some mystery woman who popped up out of nowhere.
It was only at a time like this that Rudolph and Ava united as siblings, sickened by the idea that their own inheritance might be snatched away by an outsider. Kyrie noticed how indomitable they looked, shook her head slightly, and gave a small sigh as she looked out the window. Outside, there was still a strong rain falling, and everything was gray, having lost all vibrance. It felt like the lush garden that the sun had shone on earlier had never existed. For some reason, the words Ava had said just a short while ago kept repeating in Kyrie's head. It boils down to this. No matter what is shown to us now on Rokenjima, it can't be accepted as truth. There was an old... This is like Charlie and Dee Reynolds working together, yeah. Just bad people making bad plans. There was an odd nuance to those words. Right now, this island was closed off by the typhoon and isolated. There were no official institutions here and no hospital. So no matter what institutions had issued what kind of documentation, on this island one could claim that it was all fiction. It was impossible to prove that something was the truth. They were cut off from the outside world, and all truths proven in the outside world would be called fiction. So did that mean that now on this Rokenjima there was nothing that was truthful? That everything would be controlled by fiction? It almost gave the illusion that, separate from the human world made from truth, was another world called fiction in which they had all been shut away. I mean, literally, yes. You are all in fact fictional characters. Kyrie remembered what that woman had looked like one more time. And she remembered the woman's figure in the witch of the portrait. On this island, which had been isolated from the world of humans and shut away in the world of non-humans, a non-human being had visited. No matter what she did, Kyrie couldn't help think of the subtle smile that had appeared on that woman's face as anything other than ominous. I'm trying to understand that ominous smile. It feels like my chessboard thinking mistook a vital premise. That's right. That smile seemed like that of something non-human looking down on me. I had reasoned based on the assumption that our opponent was a human like us. However, just like this island now, she may be a being that is not human, and human values may not apply to her. In that case, all reasoning is useless. For what reason was the witch invited here today? Only one thing is certain. Right this very moment, she is staying somewhere in this vast mansion. All reason is useless.
Maria, around lunchtime today, we met someone outside, right? A woman? Who was she?
Said it a lot. Beatrice.
Maria, have you ever met Beatrice before?
See her every year.
Every year? In this mansion on Rokenjima? I don't know what "oo" means.
It's fucking an affirmative. How can you not know what it means? I know what it means. I accidentally killed my webcam slamming on my laptop in rage just now. Thank you, WebTax, for the... I don't know what CLP stands for. I don't know what kind of money you have sent me, but I thank you for it. 1010 CLP. Anyway.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh my god, she said un instead of ooh. She added an N on the end.
How long have you been seeing her? How many years ago did it start?
Don't know.
You don't know? Why? Last year? 2 years ago? Longer.
My entire active memory. Rosa was aghast. Only the Ushiromiya mansion existed on this island, so there was no way that there were any humans other than themselves on this island. And yet Maria said that she had been meeting with that suspicious woman every year during the family conference? If what Maria said was the truth, then that strange woman called Beatrice had been at the family conference every year. That's insane. Is she saying that some eerie woman was at the family conference every year and none of us ever noticed it? Even though Rosa had just met her herself a couple hours ago in the rose garden, she was overcome with a strange emotion which told her not to accept her existence. What in the world did I meet with earlier today in the rose garden as the typhoon grew close and the winds blew strong?
Maria, so you said that you see her every year. What do you do together?
Woo! Sing songs, learn magic, learn how to draw magic circles. Really?
That's incredible. Maria, you often scribble. Draw magic circles in your notebook, right? Did she teach you that?
Woo! Beatrice draws what they should look like. What?
Maria joyfully fished around in her handbag. Then she took out her notebook and started opening its pages. Most of the pages were covered with drawings that were literally scribbles. All of them were occult-like things, and while it might sound rude to Maria, who was joyfully flipping through the pages, they were all creepy.
Look here! Beatrice drew these for me. Yeah.
Hey, I recognize these satanic symbols. On each page Maria opened to, there was another eerie magic circle that had been drawn. Furthermore, at a glance, Rosa realized that Maria hadn't drawn them. The strength of the strokes, the thickness of the lines, how clean the shape was. This by itself wasn't enough to guess the background of the person who had drawn it, but it was enough for Rosa to understand that it was definitely someone older than Maria. Rosa had to accept it now. There really was a person on this Rokenjima who she hadn't even known existed, and this person had been playing with Maria during the family conference every year. Just accept that you are the worst mom ever and you have never known where your child was at any given time.
Maria, does this witch Beatrice live here? Or does she live outside the island like us?
Ooh. Beatrice is the witch of Rokenjima, so she lives on this island.
So you're saying that she's on the island even when it isn't the family conference, right?
Ooh.
I don't know what "ooh" means.
How do you not know? Use the power of implication. Like, simply consider for a moment what "ooh" might mean. Well?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. How long has this unknown witch been living on this island? I used to live on this island. I lived on this island, passing the time in the mansion in the rose garden, and even so I never encountered a witch like that. Never, I think. Ooh, when the lightning strikes, and the thunder rolls.
Mama? What's wrong? Mama?
My head hurts.
I was probably getting a little mixed up with my memories from when I was a young girl. When I was a young girl, unlike Maria, I was very frightened of witches. So for me, the name Beatrice was a synonym for something frightening. So it must be that my feelings of fear from my days as a young girl has been revived because a woman calling herself that has appeared. She couldn't be a witch. She's obviously a human calling herself Beatrice, right? Oh yes, that witch entrusted me with an envelope. What in the world could that be? Rosa pulled that Western envelope out of her pocket. It was the Western envelope which bore the Ushiromiya crest which Kinzo used on his personal letters, and it had even been sealed with the red sealing wax by the head's ring which Kinzo held, which meant this envelope belonged to the Ushiromiya head. In other words, it was from Father. Why was a woman calling herself Beatrice holding it, and why did she give it to me? That's right. I'm sure she said to read this aloud at dinner. What in the world could be written inside? Anxiety gripped Rosa, as if opening this envelope might release some kind of monumental disaster. However, at the same time, a little curiosity sprouted up, causing her to want to find out what was written inside before the other siblings. Using common sense, one could guess that a huge decision somehow related to Father's inheritance was probably written inside. Actually, since he had given it to a woman calling herself Beatrice, there was no way that it wasn't related. Did this mean that he wanted the inheritance split not between 4, but between 5, including her? I need a large sum of money, and I can't wait long. I do feel like a sinful daughter for discussing the distribution of father's inheritance while he's still alive. There's plenty of other reasons you should feel that way. However, I'm no longer at a stage where I can afford to keep everything pretty. And as if you did. And I'm even consulting with Rudolf Nissan and Ava Nissan in order to get some money out of Kraus Nissan. With myself in this situation, I can't help but sense something ominous in the appearance of the witch. What could be written in here? I'm sure there must be something frightening written. Shall I first read it secretly myself? The witch had requested it be done at the dinner table when everyone was gathered. However, in that case, couldn't she just read it aloud at the dinner table herself? Why did she go to all the trouble of entrusting it to me? Does that mean basically that it didn't matter whether I secretly read it beforehand? No. No, it doesn't mean that. Almost guaranteed doesn't. It would be better to secretly read the contents first. See, this is how dumb bitch thinking works, I guess. I understand that it would be breaking my promise, but this is no longer the time to keep things pretty. Stop saying that. It would probably be good to discuss it with Ava Nissan and Rudolf Nissan, depending on the contents. Nissan and the rest are always really good thinkers when it comes to this kind of thing. Yeah, you are just a bad thinker when it comes to all kinds of things, Rosa. As I gulped and put my hand to the red sealing wax, something suddenly pulled on my sleeve and I let out a small shriek.
What? Maria, don't scare me like that. What? No.
Huh? Maria was making the same ominous expression Rosa had seen on the witch, sending a tingle up her spine.
Beatrice told you to read that letter during dinner, Mama. You can't break a promise with a witch. That's not it. I just wanted to look at the envelope for a second. I'll keep my promise. After all, Mama always tells you to keep your promises. Of course Mama will keep her promise.
Fucking liar.
Mama's a good girl. That laugh. It isn't cute, so stop it. Come to think of it, you received a letter too, Maria. What was written inside? Haven't opened it. Beatrice said I mustn't open it until it's time to open it. So taking good care of it. I see. You listen well to what Beatrice says, don't you, Maria?
Yeah, bitch.
She doesn't hit me in the head. I'm Beatrice's disciple, so I listen well to what my master says. I see.
Rosa realized something. Mixed in with Maria's gaze was the light of a person other than Maria. If she broke the rules and opened the envelope here, Beatrice would definitely find out about it. Because Maria was the witch's disciple. Maria communicated with that witch.
Mama will keep her promise. So tell Beatrice not to worry, okay?
Hell yeah. Recognize the power of Maria.
I'll tell her. Hey, Maria, I want to speak with Beatrice, so what could I do to meet her, I wonder? Don't know. Beatrice is very fickle, so she always shows herself suddenly. I don't know a way to get her to meet me. But you know, she's always watching me. So when I get in trouble, she'll definitely save me afterwards.
She's like kind of letting the mask slip on her mom a little bit here, like, bitch, I'm getting away from you. Like,
she's gone invisible and is hiding close to me. I just know it. Don't I always tell you to stop that laughing?
Rosa reflexively hit Maria on the head. That put a stop to Maria's laughing voice, but it wasn't able to erase the ominous color that had risen to her eyes. Rosa made a pact with herself. She swore that at least until they left this island, she would not leave Maria alone. She couldn't allow an unknown being to make direct contact with her daughter anymore. Rough night for Maria. All right. We made it to o'clock. It's 6 o'clock in the story. And I think we're going to wrap it here. This has been a fun It was fun to get to read. I feel like there was more Beatrice and Maria than almost any other time that I've played, and that was very fun. You don't remember how long we have till the murders? Yeah, I'm surprised this chapter's got a weird it's very different from the first one, because the first one had such a controlled sense of pacing where it felt like it was literally happening in time with the day for 12 hours or however long, you know, and it was like exactly 1-to-1 watching everything happen in real time. And then this one has like gone all over the place in time, you know, skipped over so much of the day that you don't really know where it's going to expand and contract on the day. It's definitely feels like it's built to fuck with you a lot more. Like the first one was a very deliberate easing in. You're meant to understand everything happening. This one is like, you're not meant to understand everything happening here. You're just obviously not. It's just telling you a bunch of details you're going to need to know going forward. But like, there's no way to be like, oh, I know exactly what's going on in this chapter. Like, I have no fucking idea where this chapter's going, you know? So this episode, I mean, I've created a lot of confusion because I realized that I hadn't known that they were episodes that have chapters inside of them. So I'd been using the words episode and chapter interchangeably in the video titles. But yeah, we're on episode 2. Chapter, I don't care. Episode 2 is one of the funnest to revisit. Yeah, I would bet this is one that like everything makes tremendously more sense when you already know the whole plot. Because again, there's so many weird little hooks in it, like little stuff that it just kind of throws out there and then leaves, you know, where like the first chapter, it felt like every single thing that got brought up was like kind of obsessed over. This one is like, well, whoa, we're going over here now. We're talking about this character, you know. It's hard to predict who's going to be important when. So yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely like strapping you in and making sure you're in for the long haul, like letting you know this is not going to stay simple and straightforward at all, if it was even considered that in the first place. Oops. All right. That's it. We're going to end it. Goodbye, everybody. Help me promote my Perfect Blue video. Look forward to me talking about Jujutsu Kaisen manga to completion probably in a few weeks. It's going to take me a while to actually finish reading Jujutsu Kaisen, and even longer to write about it. Anything else I should talk about? Go read my magazine. Go buy my magazine. It's only $3. I'm working on issue number 2. I've probably got enough writing to just compile it if I finish putting all the pages together. So issue 2 of my magazine, maybe before Jujutsu Kaisen video, because then I can advertise it in that video. All right. Good night, everybody.